probably plug it in right there.
Oh, you're funny.
Okay. The sweat on my forehead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that all weekend, thanks.
Yeah. We've actually been getting a lot of, oh, it's almost time to start, isn't it?
Okay, looks like it's 7 o'clock, so we'll call the meeting to order. I'm going to take attendance first of all. Sandy, you're present.
Here.
Dan,
Here.
Heather,
Present.
Dean,
Here.
and myself, I am. Does anyone have a written disclosure of pecuniary conflict of interest? Sandy?
No, I don't.
Dan?
No.
Heather?
None.
And Dean?
None.
Okay, thank you. So this being a special council meeting tonight, there are no petitions or delegations. There are no reports from municipal officers. There are no reports from committees. And under action letters, we have a complaint regarding the fire truck filling station at the Wally Bridge. We had two individuals, Mr. Richardson and Ms. Banshee, who emailed us concerning development in that area. Mr. Richardson seemed to have the understanding we were working on building the beach, and Ms. Banshee did as well, except that she also mentions development at the Wally Bridge in her email. But I think what we have to do tonight is determine how to proceed. Has everyone had a chance to look at all the information that was provided? We did pass a resolution on July 23rd, 2019, and it was a council decision at that time that we would move forward in the construction of a filling station for the fire department to provide for an area to fill up their tanker trucks there if there was a fire up in the west end of the municipality, as it was too far to travel to Smith Lake to get water at the boat launch. So I see Mr. Richardson's logged in. Is there anything that you would like to say, Mr. Richardson?
Well, I'm here primarily to listen. The letter that I sent was specifically had to do with the property line and any encroachments over that, et cetera. You know, I have some thoughts on the issue of the development, but to be clear, my message, my email was focused exclusively on the issue of the property line, where it is, encroachments, what's going on there. Roseanne's, who is Roseanne not here? Is she logged in?
She's just logging in right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so she's logging in, and she can speak for herself, of course. hers has to do with the, what's going on with development in general, I think, and she'd be in a better position to speak to that because she is there, and also she sent the email. With respect to the property line, I want to get a survey independently to get absolute clarification on this. It seemed pretty clear that I do appreciate that, this isn't the final will and testament on this thing, but it did seem pretty clear from the information that I'd received from her that by any interpretation of where the property line is, that seems to be significant encroachment over it. And it appears that, at least to me, that there's a reasonable chance that encroachment over is intended to be part of the final product of whatever's going on there. So I guess that's what I would say. I do want to get clarification. That obviously, I listen with interest to, any response to that. But on the issue of the what's going on there in general, I see that Roseanne is here, and probably she should speak to that.
Sorry, everyone. I just joined the meeting a little bit late here. But good evening. It's Roseanne Banshee. What was the subject question, or what's going on here right now?
We had talked about a resolution that we passed last July to create a filling station at the Wally Bridge location on the Mad Defoe. And we had talked about two concerns that were lodged by Mr. Richardson and yourself. And Mr. Richardson just talked about his concern about encroachment, on the property line. And he stated that he was going to proceed to obtain a survey for that area. And then you logged in.
Okay, thanks for the update. Did you want me to speak to the?
If you have anything to say, you should say it now, yes.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so I guess my objection is to the council's decision to proceed as though this is a fire truck filling station. I appreciate Dean Maxwell's honesty last year and the reality that it is used as a public beach. And I guess moving towards the opportunity where we were going to work collaboratively to sort this out through the necessity of the Municipal Act to close the old colonization road and rezone it as a beach and do a proper planning process around what needs to happen there. So, it's clear that this is a decision you made to disregard what we raised last year. And of course, we find that irresponsible, for one thing, given what goes on down there. I'm down there pretty frequently. And so there's definitely issues with what goes on down there. I know probably you might pass by or occasionally, know what's happening there, but I'm definitely not satisfied with the fire restrictions down there, whether it's smoking or actual fires. I think I raised the issue last year that the whole entire riparian zone is dead spruce trees at the moment. Like, I certainly do not want to force fire along that river's edge. And these are all things that need to be discussed in terms of what would be the way a proper beach would operate down there and how would that be protected. So there's so many things that are bothering me about your approach to doing things there. But anyway, I don't support this resolution that you did last year. I feel it's false. And as a result, you've created a road into the through part of the property down below where a lot of people come in and park now and spin their tires and get stuck. And, you know, who knows if someone gets backed over on our property, you know? Who knows if that's gonna happen? Like, why introduce 4 vehicles down into a small zone, you know? It's just, it's not the safest thing to do. And Dean was kind enough to indicate that you did get a legal opinion on this previously. And in that legal opinion, you know, you had counsel that said, yeah, you should probably gate that road off. You should probably gate it off because it's like a liability. This idea of a fire truck access in that lowland, you have a perfect fire truck access right across the river. There's a giant concrete buttress that you can just back the truck in and do what you need to do. So, I mean, I'm not really interested in playing that game, but I just wanted to voice my opinion, I guess.
Okay, thank you for that. I just have to state now that we aren't talking about development of a beach or a swimming hole. We're talking about a development of a filling station for fire trucks at that location.
Then go fill it across the river. And
And
don't do
what
the
happens
shoreline damage.
out the beach area is not related to this issue.
You need to follow the proper procedure under the Municipal Act and close the road and entertain the proper process of what developing a beach is about. And whether or not it makes that feasibility.
Okay, we have followed the procedures, okay? And we talked to outdoor parklands, and the shore allowance is municipality of Calvin. It's a road allowance, belongs to the municipality of Calvin. We got a permit from the North Bay Mattawa Conservation Authority to move ahead with this. We talked to the MNR about it, and they said as long as there was no in-water work, they didn't have any concerns. We talked to the Department of Fisheries and Oceans and got a permit from them to do this. And
yeah, but under what auspices?
Excuse me, I'm talking.
Fire
okay, if you want to speak, you can ask to speak. This is not going to get out of control. I'm saying something now, so I have the floor. Understood? Thank you. We've also done a self-review of endangered species, and there aren't none really in that area to be concerned with. Is there something you'd like to say, Roseanne?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess my question is, when you have applied for these permits, what are you applying for the permit on? The ground that you're creating a fire truck station filling area, or you're creating a beach?
Fire truck filling area.
Okay, so we're just kind of going in circles right now because, like I mentioned earlier, I'm opposed to that approach because it's not truthful. It's not what's really happening there. And it's a liability, what you're creating. So I guess I don't have much else to say other than in terms of endangered species in that riparian zone, there are bank swallows there. And there are barn swallows that are under the bridge. And there are beavers and otters and other animals that use that riparian zone. And they use it in the evening and so on and so forth. And it's part of the quality of the resource, you know? Why you have to impact that shoreline is beyond me when you can fill a fire truck directly across the river with ease. There's already concrete buttress backfilled like however many years ago. You don't need to do that damage to the environment or to those species. So you've just made all those applications on a false pretense as far as I'm concerned, and I can't support that.
Okay, thank you for your opinion.
Did I state something there, Ryan?
Who's that?
Fire chief? Dean?
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know, Roseanne, what your knowledge is about pumps, but the maximum lift of fire trucks is 15 feet. We tried to do that same situation at the Pottawa Bridge and we failed because it was too high of a lift. What we're trying to situate is somewhere where we can set down a portable pump and pump up to the trucks from. So we're looking to be able to have access where we can back in, put 2 portable pumps set up and we pump up to the trucks. There's no direct pump. It just won't do the lift. Trucks are not capable of pumping that high. From the other side where you're talking about, from the east side, it's too high of a lift. Our trucks won't do it.
Yeah, thanks, Dean. I had this conversation with Sandy, and I'm also wondering why you just don't go down to Smith Lake where there's a boat ramp and load up your truck. Like,
It's
to
more
me,
about,
it's just a false story. This is more about, and we're not telling what the truth is here. It's just a strategy of yours to get the beach in, to get people's cars off the bridge and down into that area. And I'm just saying it's not safe. It encroaches on the other property. There's a number of reasons why it's just not the best solution.
yeah. Originally, it
May
was to service the Burley area. We have a lot of water in that zone area, so we're looking to just make a better station for us as a fire department.
May I speak to that? It's Heather Olmsted.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead, Heather.
Thank you. We have developed an ad hoc committee for developing or non-developing the beach area. We want our community's input. We actually fielded everyone to see if there will be any, taxpayers that want to be on that committee, and nobody showed any interest. But because of
Mr.
COVID,
Richards was one who wanted to be,
Yeah, that is
Pardon
true.
me?
I
and
have.
so was the gentleman across the road from me, Mr. Desjardins.
okay,
Those 2 people.
all right. Well, but we haven't been able to have any meetings
Right.
regarding that. We've decided to move forward with the pumping station. I don't know if you're familiar with losing the farm on Peddlers Road. The fire department had to go down to Burbot Lake. If we had that access to Peddlers, we may have saved that house. So we need a decent filling station up here, and that's as far as it goes. There's no false pretense. We're not moving forward with any beach. We've got some information we want to share. We want to see what's going to happen. We need input, but it has gone no further. But for the safety of our community, absolutely, we need a filling station there. There's not going to be any encroachments. Our road supervisor found the pins, every single one. The proper survey is made. We will ensure your privacy and your property. We're trying best to move forward here. But that's as far as we're taking it. There is no false pretense, none whatsoever. Filling station, okay, yes, sir. That's it, I'm done, okay.
Thanks, Heather.
If I could speak at some point here. It's John Richardson. John Richardson, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks. You mentioned, Heather, you mentioned there is an existing survey. Did I understand you correctly?
Yes, Chris had located all the pins.
Okay. Do you have a survey? Do you actually have a survey is what I'm asking.
I'd have to ask Cindy
Yes.
about that.
It's Chris Wally here.
Yep. Hi,
And
Chris.
yes, we have a copy of the survey.
Would you forward that to me?
Sure, it's up to council, I guess, but I can forward it, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, is there any reason anybody would object to that?
No,
All depends
No.
who owns the survey and if they give us permission to do that. There are some situations where if somebody pays for a survey, they don't want it shared, but I don't know the conditions on this one right now.
Sorry, it was muffled. I didn't understand what you just said. If you could repeat that slowly.
Sometimes people pay for a survey, okay?
Yes.
And because they paid for it, they don't have to share it. all right? And I don't know the situation on this one, if that's the case or not, so we'd have to look at that before we could say yes or no that we couldn't, right? Share that with you?
Okay, well, will you look at that and get back to me on that, then, if that's the case?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
The survey, it's Chris Wally again, and the survey I have here was dated October the 8th, 1999. So it's a fairly recent survey. It's fairly accurate. I measured before by myself and had difficulty trying to locate that third or that second pin next to the bridge. And we went back down there last week and with two of us, and we measured a lot more accurately, and we came within 4 inches. When I put the marks on the ground, the pin was right there. I don't know why I couldn't find it before, but we definitely found the pin, and in my opinion, it's 100% accurate where those pins are.
Okay,
So
well,
one
that's
pin
great to hear. That's great to hear. So, I mean, if you could do whatever internal protocol you need, and hopefully the result of that is you can forward that to me, that would be great. Moving on to a second thought I have, just listening to the conversation here. So I would assume that all of you would understand that, sort of from my perspective, I was there, for 2 meetings about a year ago. And clearly the topic under discussion was a beach. Right? I mean, there's no doubt about that. So you're saying that you have changed course, or at least
No, there were
temporarily-
two projects. One was beach and one was the filling station.
Okay. So at the moment, though, this you're saying as the filling station has nothing to do with the beach.
Correct.
Okay. So given that that's the case, would you have any objection to prohibiting people from using it as a beach until this is resolved?
That would have to be a council decision, but I wouldn't support that personally.
Mayor Pennell, I'd like to comment at some point whenever it's reasonable.
Okay, Dean, are you finished, Mr. Richardson? I just don't want to cut you off halfway through your thought.
No, I appreciate that. The problem is that what I'm hearing is muffled. So if I can just, the last question I asked is, given that what you're doing right now is focusing on the fire truck access and not the beach, then there appear to be a number of issues on all sides with respect to the beach. From Roseanne's side, all kinds of safety issues. From your side, I mean, there clearly are legal loopholes, et cetera, that you have to clear. Would you prohibit, as a general principle, the use of that as a beach until this is resolved?
And my response to that was that would be a council decision, but I would not support that personally. Okay, and this meeting is not about the beach. Okay, it is about the filling station. Now, Dean, you had something you wanted to say?
Yes, I'd like to speak to, obviously to the concerns of our guests and to council in general, and yourself as chair also. John had a concern. I've been making a few notes here about encroachment, and that's also a concern of mine. I think that it's important that we make sure that we have a clear path in the survey. Now, my understanding is that there's maybe some tire tracks and there's some previous use possibly on the other side of the stake on the property, the private property. I think we can find a win-win here where municipal property, and if there is encroachment, I think that I'd like to see us make some efforts to prevent that, whether it be through some rocks or a fence or something like that. And I'm hoping that that's something that we can get behind with Mr. Richardson as well. So that's to address encroachments. It's my thoughts on the encroachment of the property. Roseanne had some concerns about the process and about the location of the filling station. I think the recommendations of our fire chief, from my perspective, are very valid, and I support the filling station in that location. When it comes to the proper planning process, I'm also very in favor of a proper process. And we were in the process of setting up the process, I suppose you'd say. And I think we, made some ground on that since, back in the couple months ago, and COVID hit and really, really mucked up the process. So it's just been on hold as far as I'm concerned. At this point, we were dealing with the budget and some of these issues that we thought were more significant for the function of the municipality. That being said, I think that, that planning process is going to move forward. And when it comes to the fire truck filling station, I mean, I don't know, I think I'm addressing encroachments, I'm addressing the validity of the filling station, I'm addressing some of the planning process issues. So I don't know, Roseanne and John, if my opinions help clarify anything from my perspective, but I just don't think it's a sham process. I really do think that there's a lot of discussion and debate to be had on the swimming hole, but that's for another day, I think. I would like to see the filling station proceed, as we had determined earlier. So those are my thoughts, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. Sandy, do you have anything you'd like to offer?
I did speak with Roseanne last week. I did assure her that the work that we were doing was just for the filling station. She did make mention of Dean's comments about it being really a swimming hole. I did tell her that if that's what Dean had said, that wasn't his place to say that. But what we're working on right now is the filling station, not a swimming hole. She did mention about filling up at Smith Lake instead. And that I had said that it's far away from if we had a fire on this side of Calvin. I understand her concerns about it becoming a swimming hole. I understand about having fires down there. Even at the last meeting that John was involved in, we had asked what was expected that we would do as a council or council if people were having fires down there, and we said call the police. We don't patrol Calvin. We've never said that fires were allowed down there. So if there's somebody down there breaking the law or doing things that are dangerous, I'd fully support the police being called. Because no, we don't need a fire, or nobody needs to deal with drunkenness or vehicles doing spinning of the tires or anything like that. But I want to make it clear that in no means am I supporting some sort of sham project. That I feel that our roads department is doing the jobs that they're supposed to be doing and filling out the proper paperwork that needs to be done to proceed with this project, the project of the filling station. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Dan, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yes, I do. Well, obviously there was no beach development on in this stage of this project we're doing. The filling station is a crucial area that we need for the west end of the township. We've been working on this project for 2 years now, and we've been very careful to cross all of our T's and dot all of our I's. Our road super has been diligent and making sure we had all the permits in place. And they've taken over a year just to get those permits in place. They're time-sensitive permits, so we cannot delay this project and have the permits run out, have to start the process all over again. Our employees were very careful at the site to not trespass on the private property there. They actually had to go down and get some sand to finish the barrier that goes between the water that's required in one of the permits. And so the sand was to hold it in. So they did drive down there to pick up some sand, which made it look like they were making a road down there, but it was actually, those tire tracks were only to get some sand. as this project is developed, the main driveway in there is going to go in to the filling station. It's not going to go down into the swimming, to the area where people are swimming right now. That's my understanding anyway. So there's been no encroachment on our employees and on our township as a whole. It's been a common area that's been used for probably 50 years now. And sorry if when you bought the property, Roseanne, that you didn't realize you didn't own the lakefront, but that's how it is in this area. But you don't own the lakefront, that it's a community property and everyone is allowed to use it. And so to tell people they can't use it there just because you think you own it, sorry about that, but that's not going to fly. We cannot delay this project because it's for the greater community that we're putting this filling station in. And we have, like I said, we have the time sensitive permits. The West End needs a filling station up there. If it was your house on fire, you'd want water there as fast as you can. The crucial point, when I was on the fire department for 7 years, the crucial point is when the trucks run out of water, that you just about have the fire knocked down, but when all the trucks are empty, you need water there quickly. You need it there in 10 minutes. And if you got to drive to Barbara Lake, that's probably a 20-minute extra drive. And that's when the fire starts up again and you lose the house. So it's very important that you have water source close to the area that you're fighting a fire in that area. So to put the residents in danger in that end of the township, just for the sake of you want to have your lakefront property reserved for your privacy and not have other people there, I'm sorry about that, but we have to move forward with this project. I take offense to some of the things you said about us being irresponsible and that we're making falsehoods. We're putting this in. We have a plan in place to deal with the beach area as well, and that there's a committee being set up, and that process is going to take some time. And it was delayed because of the virus that has been put us into some delays, but we're continuing to work on that, and we're going to have full people will be able to have full input into that process when it starts. And I imagine it's going to be the idea that the committee was to get together to make it official that it's already being used as a swimming hole. So we want to put some responsibilities on it and make sure it's being used properly. But it sounds like you're studying more of a defense, a group against to stop it rather than try to work out a solution here. Now, the main problem that I read in the letter was that the encroachment on the property line, and that could be, there could be some solutions there, such as a fence. A small fence would probably get vandalized, so I would probably suggest some big rocks. But it is a tight area for our trucks to be getting in there. I'm sure our township would be willing to put some rocks to keep them off your valued property that you don't want anybody stepping on there, that little 5 feet of property that they keep driving over the corner, because I know you need that really badly. So we could put some rocks there to stop people from driving over that area, and that would deal with that issue. But even just having this meeting to discuss it, this cost the township $750 to have this meeting tonight, just in council reimbursements alone. So this costs us a lot of money to deal with your problems. So I hope you realize that we're taking it serious and that we're going to continue on it. Some of the things that you brought up about the wildlife area, and that we've checked all those things out. There aren't any issues there with the wildlife. We have a full survey that our roads department has been working with, and he's quite confident on the accuracy of it. But to restrict access there to, once the question of time was asked if we could restrict access to it, and I think that would be something I would not support, because it's a township property and it's been used for generations by people in that area to go cool off on a hot summer day. It's something that's been going on in this community for years, and that's part of the community living, the lifestyle that we have here. So sorry if you moved here and you thought you owned the lake, but you don't. That's all I have to say. I think I crossed all my points I said. But I don't support restricting access, and I recommend that the project move ahead and on schedule so the permits don't run out, and we do not put the residents at risk any longer into the township with having no water access for the fire trucks. Thank you.
May I
Thanks.
get on the list at some point? Speak here.
Heather, who was the last
Yes.
person?
Dan spoke.
Yeah, who was the person after that said something about the list?
John.
Oh, I just asked
that-
if I could speak.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go around the council table
Sure.
first, and I'll give you one last chance there. Heather, have anything to add?
Well, like I said, I'm doing it for the safety of the community. We've already lost a house over there. We could have saved it. And now I see it's sad. We just want the safety of our community. It's just a filling station. There's no roofs. We will advance hopefully forwards after this state of emergency is over and we can start meeting again and continue with our ad hoc committee. We'll have public input. As far as I've heard, nobody wants it to change. We do need some safety measures in place. Absolutely. And that's what we're going to consult everyone for, and not being irresponsible. We're having due diligence. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. So Dean, you've already spoken. Do you have anything else you'd like to say?
No, thank you, Mayor Panel. I don't think I actually do have anything to add. I think that I've taken up enough time, and I think that Roseanne and John's complaints are valid, and I think that they're important, and I think that I'm going to try to make sure they're addressed. Yes, I still support the filling station.
Okay, thank you. Now, Mr. Richardson.
Yes, first of all, let me say that I'm in total agreement with the issue of the safety in the community. I totally understand the issue of the fires, but I think that safety in the community includes the safety of that place as as a beach or a swimming hole or whatever it is you want to call it. And it seems to me that if you don't want to prohibit access for swimming until the thing is resolved, it seems to me to be reasonable. We all agree, we're all committed to this in the spirit of safety for all. It seems to me that it would be possible, and I think should be possible, to agree on some small steps that can be taken that I think could dramatically improve the overall safety, not for the swimmers, for the adjoining property owners, etc. Minimally, there's no signing, but can there not be signs prohibiting fires and cigarette butts and all these types of things that clearly are generally problematic, but the hotter it gets, the more problematic it becomes, as far as igniting sparks and things like that. And I don't quite understand why, if we're all committed, and we all are clearly committed to the principle of public safety, that we can't take some steps in that regard to provide better protection for all concerned.
I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate your comments. But we are not talking about the beach. We're talking about the fire filling station. All right? So I haven't heard anything tonight that would stop us from proceeding with this project. There was a bylaw passed by resolution 2019-138 that instructed the municipality to create this area for a filling station. I'm going to ask our clerk if there's anything that we need to do tonight in order for this project to move ahead. And if there is, we'll do it. And if there isn't, then we'll move ahead with it as well.
Are you saying that you will not consider safety measures that are in the interest of all concerned?
Concerning the swimming hole? No, not at this meeting. This meeting is not about the swimming hole.
Okay.
It's about the station.
All right.
You guys keep going to the swimming hole, but it's not the swimming hole. Okay? Like you alluded that we were being not truthful or sneaky, doing stuff that was under the table, so that we're going to build a swimming hole and not tell anybody about it. That's not the way we do things. All right? We're totally above board all the time. So, Cindy, is there anything we have to do?
I don't think there's anything you have to do at the meeting, but I think that it would be very helpful to all concerned, everybody in this call.
I was talking to
address
Cindy.
some of these issues anyway. Yeah, I understand that.
Cindy, is there anything that we have to do to move forward with this project?
She must be on mute.
Oh, Cindy? I think you're on mute.
Yes, I apologize. My bad. I'm sorry. No, you would not need to do anything. This resolution would stand.
Okay. Okay, I'm going around the council table to all the councilors again and ask if there's anything else they want to discuss concerning this evening. And if there's not, I'm going to end the meeting. So, Sandy, is there anything further that you would like to say?
Now there's not.
Yeah, and Anthony, do you like to say?
Just that I support the project going forward without delay, and
Okay.
and that we will, and that apologies if I got a little emotional with my my rant, but it just seems like I think we'll do due process on the swimming hole when that time comes, and that'll probably take a couple of years.
Okay. And Heather?
Yeah, I say move forward. We will look into the swimming hole in a future date, but this is about the filling station. I support it 100%.
Okay, thank you. And Dean?
I don't have any further comments at this time.
Okay, so then I guess we're going to proceed with this project because we do have a standing resolution for it. So I'm going to call, I need a mover and a seconder to adjourn the meeting.
Actually, Chair, is it possible for me to have some closing remarks? Because I didn't make that last round. It's Roseanne.
Well, actually, you get 10 minutes to speak, but I'll make an exception in this.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate it. I just, in terms of safety measures around creating the access for the fire truck at the moment, I appreciate that Chris is on the phone and that he's done a location of posts with Dean. I have a question in terms of the road access down to the beach right now with all the swimmers and cars that are going there and cars that
Talking about the beach again, okay? This meeting is for the filling station. If you have a comment regarding the filling station, please proceed, but not the beach.
Okay. The filling station has created a road on the left side of the stake that I believe Chris found. That road appears to be encroaching on the property, and that's an issue because it's facilitating a lot of traffic off the road down into that area, which I feel is unsafe. So I don't think these are fire trucks driving down the road. They seem to be recreationalists. And I'm not against people swimming in the swimming hole. My children have swam there for years. But I am against people lighting fires or throwing a cigarette butt and lighting the whole shoreline on fire. Then your fire trucks aren't going to be able to do anything. This whole township along the river is going to be on fire. I'm really serious about this. And please do not make assumptions that it's because we would like to have private lakefront property. We don't live over there. We don't live over there, but we'd
You have
like
any
to.
concern about the filling station?
Yes, because the filling station road at the moment is being used by other traffic, recreationists, and there's a lot of them. We phoned the police on June 19th because someone left a truck overnight on our property. And that's not necessarily safe either. So why not gate it off? Just like your legal counsel recommended to you in the previous letter. Like, it would be really sad to see some kid ran over. Maybe on our property, maybe on yours. But there's enough kids and people down there on a hot day spinning their tires and trying to turn around. It's not conducive to a parking area, plus a fire truck filling station and possible swimmers. And that's my argument. It's not that I want some lakefront property. If I want that, I'll hop on a plane and go to my cottage in BC.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Maxwell has already suggested that we place some rocks there to prevent vehicular traffic down to the beach area. I'm sure that our road superintendent will look at that. So I need a mover and a seconder to adjourn the meeting. Sandy, will you move it?
Mayor Pennell, I just had one comment about new and old business. Is that on the agenda?
Okay, go.
I just had one comment, just something that a resident had brought to my attention. I believe that the Canadian flag in front of the public hall may not be in the best condition. And I was hoping that maybe that could be addressed before Canada Day. I have not confirmed that with my own eyes, but that was just a message that I had received about the Canadian flag, and that was all my only comment.
Okay,
Mayor Pennell, can I speak to that?
yes,
The flag was replaced a couple weeks ago. It's not in tatters anymore.
Okay, thank you, because I had not confirmed that with my own eyes, but it was just a message that I had received. Thank you.
okay, so I need a mover and a seconder. Danny, will you move the meeting be adjourned?
Can I say one more thing before?
Oh, wait.
Can I speak? If there is a barrier going to be put up, we have to know what kind of barrier it is, and if we have to have a resolution to agree to that, I believe. And that has to be an agreement in there of where exactly it is and what. I don't know if the roads can go ahead and just do that on his own.
It is developing the access for the fire trucks.
Just, are the rocks going to be on township property, or are they going to be on the private property? That's what I'm curious.
It should be on township property.
Fence, or are we going to deal with that encroachment issue at all tonight? It sounds like we're sort of talking about that too.
The meeting tonight was to talk about whether there was a substantial reason to halt that project, all right?
Yes.
And so we decided that we're going to proceed with it, and the road superintendent will do what he needs to do to create that access in there for the fire filling station. Any questions?
Chris Wally would like to speak.
Go for it.
Okay, now that we know exactly where that one missing pin is, there definitely is a trespass issue from the public going down there, and that's not the municipal's fault. There has been no road created there yet. Our intentions are to create a fire truck ramp on the municipal property. I've personally backed the fire truck down in there myself and actually got stuck on that side. In fact, I got stuck on both sides, and it's the most accessible part to the river. There is a concrete abutment that we'll be backing up to, and of course we're going to barricade that with rocks so that somebody won't back over that. And now that we know where that missing pin is, we can put rocks along there to keep people from trespassing on Roseanne's property, and I feel we should do that. The other issue is, do we extend the rocks beyond that missing pin along the shoreline, or do we stop there? Because by extending it down the shoreline to the north, that would block them from parking on Roseanne's property also. And I think that's Roseanne's biggest issue, is the trespass, along with the fire. Most of that is a police issue. The same as the vehicles parking on the road, blocking your driveway, so on and so forth. We have no parking signs there, and it becomes a police issue to enforce those bylaws. So my intentions would be to barricade or block that property line on the township side with rocks so that people can't get through there.
If I can make a comment.
Hope that that's satisfied with that.
Is that Dean?
Okay.
Yes, I just want to make a quick comment. I would support Chris. Chris, I'd support you as a councillor dealing with any encroachment issues. I don't think that we need a separate direction. I think that should just be something that we can deal with to prevent encroachment on the private property. I think that's a good thing.
I'm going to ask for Cindy's opinion on that. Dan thought that we should maybe have one, a resolution to do that.
There almost has to be an agreement between Mr. Richardson and Mrs. Banshee to do that. I think there has to be some kind of agreement as well. Wouldn't you think?
No, it's Chris Wally, and there's no need for an agreement. It's on the township property, and
Okay.
we can do it on what we want on the township property.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, now I need a mover and a seconder. Sandy, will you move this
Yes, I will.
during the council meeting? Dan, will you
Yes.
second it?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a mover by Sandy, a seconder Dan Maxwell, that this special meeting with council now be adjourned at 7:49 p.m. Vote, Sandy, you yay or nay?
Yay.
Councillor Maxwell, yay or nay?
Yes.
Councillor Olmsted,
Yes.
Councillor Grant,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. Thank you all for coming out. Great discussion.
Thank you.
Have a good night.